Alright, craziness. Now we can put all of our services on the inside. I've never tried this kind of like roundabout connection, and I've heard theoretically that it doesn't work, but since I've never tried it myself, you can never just trust that people who say those things know what they're saying. So I'll give it a shot. High school in the weekly top 40. Alright, now we need our bus stops. Should probably blow up all existing bus stops too. And we gotta reconnect this road, the train station. Abandoned it. So if this highway traffic remains severe for a long time, what I want is an Avenue T intersection rather than a zoned high-density street intersection here. But I want to give it several days to see if things... I mean, like, if you've resigned yourself to having heavy traffic on the highway, then you want to start changing the way your roads are designed to accommodate that. But I haven't really. I think in theory we should be able to have an almost completely empty highway where everybody's commuting in or out by bus or using train station, and we just shouldn't have people driving in and out of our city in theory. And if I'm wrong, then I'll work more on the entrance. But for now, I created a train station, and these arcology people are still driving to work. So the next guess is to make a bus station and see if they take the bus to the arcology. I guess you can think of the arcology as like an added challenge that costs a bunch of money to add to your city. So funny. The opposite of helpful. Ta-da! Alright. This looks good. This looks like all our traffic is gone. So I do want to fix the school buses. I don't want them on the side streets at all. I think if you do this and then you bring up the bulldozer, yeah, then it stays. The little blue dots stay at the same time as the bulldoze tool is up, which is helpful. I still think that there needs to be, I mean, especially if they increase city sizes in the future, there needs to be a delete all bus station button. So by deleting these bus stations, I'm going to massively increase student traffic until I replace them. So I should probably be doing this while paused. Oops, I was trying to delete the actual bus. Where are the little blue circles? Here we go. Still have 220,000 people. I do think I'm probably massively overproducing goods at this point. Yeah, I have double the amount of goods that I need, And I'll deal with that once I've increased the whole city to max density. Then I'll delete about half of the commercial zones and replace them with residential zones to increase population more. But right now I don't really need more residential zones because I'm not even max density everywhere, so I'm going to leave it alone. Alright. Now I'm going to put my bus stops on the spokes. Spokes of my wheel. Here we go, bus stops. Here we go, bus stops. Here we go. Here we go, bus stops. Here we go. And you notice how the further we get from the center, the less space we're covering by going from the spoke. And that's why in my other city, I ended up with like 4 primary spokes and then some diagonal spokes that only hit the last ones. But this time I'm just going to let some of my people be uneducated, because screw them. You know? Uh-oh. I got lazy, so every time I save the game and then reload it, it de-zones everything. So I got lazy and I was like, well, I'll just hold control and zone my residential. And now all these houses are zoned along the avenue. Punks. I guess I forgive them for now. In the future, I should probably fix it. We'll see if they cause traffic problems. For now, I don't really have any traffic problems anywhere, so I'm okay with it. So this is always going to be the worst, I think. Theoretically, that should always be the worst traffic in the city. Because everyone who enters the city is theoretically going to be turning on either this street or this street. Because this is just for the trade depot. There's going to be a small number of people who go straight. So this avenue should be very busy upon people leaving the city, whereas this one and this one should have all the people entering the city, theoretically. In my brain, anyway. That's what I mean by theoretically, is inside my brain. I think... let's give it a couple more days and then check the tourist numbers. So we're coming up on 6 a.m. We should have completely empty streets at 6 a.m. or else we're in trouble. But it looks like we're going to hit that. Nobody over here, nobody over there. The only place that there's still traffic is right here. And now it's cleared up long before 6 a.m. So it looks good. I think we can up the density on the rest of the city and go up to 300 or 400,000. And it does look like our tourist problem was caused by the adjustments that they made to the... look at that. No tourists anymore. So the combination of train stations and gambling centers was what was creating our tourists. So we did that to try to get rid of our tourists, and it was creating more and more. I think the train station by itself created a bunch of tourists. Anyway, we'll avoid that for a little while. I was just trying to get rid of the arcology traffic by making the train station, and I feel like just increasing the length that they go between the inner city and the highway will free up enough space for arcology all by itself. I don't need to do anything else to free that up. But, I mean, the good news is when we make our next city and we make it a gambling city, it's going to be easy as hell. They really ramped up the number of tourists you can get just by making a train station and a casino. Alright, everything is high density now, I think. So it should take about 3 days for all the buildings to actually up in density. And then we'll see if our design can handle the traffic. And once all the buildings in the inner city are high density, you can see only a tiny subset of them are high density right now. Once everything is high density in here, the next step would be to use up the rest of our empty space, and the step after that would be to replace half the commercial with residential. When we do all those things, I think theoretically, like, I don't know how much of the wasted space due to ocean is going to impact the maximum possible population, but we should be looking at 600K, maybe less. I think I should delete this. Yeah, I'll probably delete that, but not yet. No need, we're just waiting on density. I've still got a 12% tax rate just to keep my people from abandoning the city with glee. I wonder, I've heard, and again, you never want to trust anything you just read someone else say. You've got to test it ourselves. But I've heard that you can't go above 12% tax rate, or you just get abandonment due to high taxes. Like the high taxes themselves actually just cause abandonment. But I'm beginning to wonder if that's true, so I'm going to do it. I'm setting my taxes to 13. I'm just going to watch. Well, we should theoretically see... There's one of two things, right? It's possible that going above 12% tax rate just gives them a negative happiness every so often. So right there, yeah. So you see those little red marks? I'm unhappy because taxes are too high. So theoretically, if everyone is getting to work on time, getting home and shopping and coming home again, they should maybe even be able to offset that just by bringing in the happiness. So we're watching these guys lose happiness because of the taxes being too high. And I want to see if they're gaining happiness fast enough to offset it, because if that works, that'd just be cool. Man, they lose money due to high taxes really often, though. They only work twice a day. And it looks like they're taking a negative happiness due to taxes once an hour. Yeah, every hour. Wow. Boy, oh boy. I kind of doubt that we're going to be able to keep up with once an hour. So that's probably why no one goes above 12% tax rate, huh? So we know that a high-density, low-wealth building sends off 400 workers twice a day, so 800 people to bring home money. Do we know how much money comes home from a low-wealth job? Probably not, but we could figure it out. And then we know that they each have 200 shoppers, and each of those 200 shoppers go shopping theoretically 3 times a day, I think. Somebody just got fired, which means we got traffic problems somewhere. Anyway, so we should be able to just do the math and figure out how much happiness we're bringing in per day, and then divide that by the number of hours and see if we can keep up with -1 happiness per hour based on having 13% tax. For now, I think a good idea would just be to raise taxes to 20% every, for 3 hours every couple days, just because it'll keep people from vacationing outside the city. You know, free up some happiness slots so that people can bring in some happiness. But I don't think keeping it at that level all the time would be very good. Agliolia. So what's up with this? Everyone wants to turn left. Why? What are they doing? I'm coming home from the arcology. They want to get to their house, and they want to go left to do it. These guys are moving into a new home. Our city is still growing and growing in population with this 280 stuff. So if everyone wants to go right... Is it that everyone wants to go right, or is it that everyone who wants to go left is getting there more quickly because the right road is more crowded? Again, I'd really like people who come home from the arcology to go in both directions. He went left. It's okay. So what happens is that the left and the right at this intersection, left has a score based on how many empty houses there are over here, and right, I guess in this case they're turning left, whatever. The other side has a score based on how many empty buildings there are. So one of those numbers is always going to be higher, and it's going to be higher until something fills up. So everyone's going to come in and go to their right until stuff fills up, and then the scores are going to change, and then everyone's going to come in and go to their left, and until stuff fills. And I want half to go left and half to go right all the time, because that would be a much smoother traffic flow. But I'm not sure how to accomplish that. What we could do is branch people out. Instead of coming to the center of a T and then going left or right, we could branch them out in an unzoned road and then have them join the same single T from two sides. And then the number of available jobs within that T would always be the same both for the left and right, and that should split the traffic evenly between the two sides. So I think that would work. We got a heck of a lot of coming in from the archaeology traffic going on here. And it's all kind of gridlocked and stuck. Who are these dudes? Our traffic is slowing down at 300k for some reason. Probably just due to construction, though. We should really give it a couple more days to make sure that these traffic problems aren't just pretend. Because while buildings are upping in density, nobody can work there, nobody can live there, so on and so forth. So sometimes you get traffic problems that just resolve themselves while that's going on. So this road especially is having some serious issues. I think it's just caused by the fire trucks, though. Like there happens to be a fire right now, and it'll all resolve itself in a second. Interesting. One thing I don't know. One thing I find kind of interesting is that there's only one entrance to the city, so we have this like evenly distributed spoked wheel, right? And yet the northern side of the wheel is always just going to have more traffic than the southern side because that's where all the archaeology people are going. So that's why I wanted to create another entrance here and another entrance here and another entrance here. And so I tried doing that with train stations, but it just brought in way too many tourists. But I still kind of feel like it's silly to have a single entrance. So I might add another train station anyway and just not use casinos to eat the tourists. I could, because you can trap tourists with commercial zones. You don't need to trap them with casinos. If casinos don't work to trap tourists anymore, we'll use something else. It's fine. Garbage dump almost full. I think we need a second incinerator. Alright, traffic, explain yourself to me. These are all workers. Workers and shoppers. There's a lot of shoppers around the inside of the city. Why? I came from a house and I'm looking for some available goods, right? So this is where all the available goods are, these blue lines. And you notice how the left side of the city has no available goods and the right side of the city has tons of available goods. And that's because I upped density on the right before I upped density on the left. And so I think this will even itself out once some of these commercial zones up density. I think right now it's just, again, it's one of those problems that's going to fix itself. Lots of shopper traffic. Worker traffic, though, same deal, I think. Again, we got higher density commercial on the right than the left, so that's creating worker traffic. As for this, like this is the longest road, so we don't really want the longest road to be, because the longest road has the most people living on it, it has the most available jobs, and it has the most available goods to be sold. So people are going to tend to favor that road anyway, So you don't want that road to be the one that's the closest to the highway, because it's the most attractive road and it's the first one they see, so everyone's going to take that road. Not only people coming in from outside the city, but also people in the city who want to, go to a house or want to go to a store or want to have a job. They're all going to see that as a very attractive place to go to. So I'm cutting them off from the highway. They don't belong in the highway. I'm kind of thinking it might be best to bring everyone from the highway to the center of the city, and then whichever place has the most available jobs, everything is equidistant from the center of the city. So they're going to go to that place first. I think that might be good. Everyone has to go all the way to the center of the city if they want to leave town. Or come in from the arcology or whatever. So that should allow them to hopefully utilize the southern part of the spoke a lot more often. It also gives them an unzoned T intersection, which is something that I discussed earlier as being a good thing. Having them split off on a road that by itself has no sinks and therefore no like score tied to its own availability. Yeah, I think this is going to go well. That looks like it's reduced traffic, at least visible traffic, quite a bit. This road is, all of these roads now on the inside are U-turn roads, though. They're dead-end roads. And I kind of dislike dead-end roads as a concept. So maybe I'll draw a second road just parallel to that one. I think that's what I'll do. So that people can use the other half of their road. But I'm only going to do that if these roads really do fill up on cars, and they haven't done that yet, so I'll just leave them alone. Okay, everyone is coming in to the center of the city and then doing their thing. We got an injury here. We got 320,000 people. Traffic is looking pretty grim. It seems like it's pretty evenly distributed now, and yet it's still pretty severe as well. What is causing this traffic? Workers. Going home. So we have people working in this building, for example, that don't live across the street. It looks like we have really low density residential next to really high density commercial. And having uneven density distribution really makes people want to drive places. I don't like it. I think we upped the density of this whole half too early. Should have left these guys medium and waited until everything here was medium. Because this isn't medium yet, but this is high. This is low and this is high, and that's not a good combination. Or this is low. Oh, which one? One of them's low. This one's low for sure. Upgrade. Still our traffic is moving, even though it's pretty severe. What we really want to do again is just wait until 5 a.m.